Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and very good evening. My name is Syahmi Syahiran Bin Saiful Kahhar, matrix number 051743, and today I'm going to give an individual presentation about Dangerous Drugs Act 2021. Let's proceed. So let us proceed to the second part, which is the administration of drugs. So, the Naturalist School of Jurisprudence believe that there are inherent laws that are common to all societies and a representation of the morals of society, which forms such natural law. Any action that is morally wrong will be contrary to such natural law and therefore illegal. Natural law and estimation with morality has a varied but old history, which includes the use of the term natural law in the Socratic dialogue of Plato, Gorgias, Aristotle, and Aristotle's universal law. The development of natural justice to natural law has been attributed to the Stoics and other philosophers like the 17th century Hobbes and John Locke, and more contemporary natural law theories like Fuller. The most important case related to the natural school is the Grudge Informer case. One such case involved a wife who informed on her husband's views about Hitler, which caused his sentencing. After the collapse of the Nazi regime, the wife was tried for depriving the husband of his freedom. The wife's defense was a requirement under Nazi statutes to furnish such information. The Court of Appeal held that the Nazi statute was contrary to the sound conscience and sense of justice of all decent human beings. She was therefore not given protection under such statute. This decision formed a precedent in other informal cases and was seen to be a triumph of natural law over positivism. So, you can say that because the consumption of drugs is an immoral activity, thus it can be stated as part of the acts that can be enacted a law to prevent the act of it. The naturalist view of law is that it stems from morals, and morals and laws are interrelated and thus inseparable. It can be said that consuming drugs are bad from a moral standpoint, as it can bring multitudes of other dangers related to immorality, such as stealing, violent crimes, and acts of promiscuity under the influence of drugs. To prevent the immoral acts, it is only natural that the consumption of drugs is prohibited from a naturalist standpoint. So let us proceed in regards to Islamic jurisprudence. So the Quran is reticent regarding drug use, although it discusses intoxicants, khamar, and more specifically alcohol. Any discussion on narcotics and addictions must start from the Al-Quran, since it is the foundation of Islamic law, ethics, and theology. Alcohol is prohibited in the Quran for recreational reasons. The Quran calls alcohol the handiwork of Satan. We can observe the ayah on Surah on verse 90 of Surah Al-Ma'idah. The verse that prohibits alcohol is with intoxicants and gambling. Satan seeks only to incite enmity and hatred among you, and to stop you remembering God and prayer. Will you not give them up? Surah Al-Ma'idah verse 90 to verse 91. At-Tabari, an Islamic scholar, a famous Islamic scholar, writes that Khamar is every drink that intoxicates the mind, veils it, and covers it. It may be that during the Prophet's time in Arabia, alcoholic beverages such as Khamar, Bit, Mizr were the only available form of intoxicants. All Sunni jurists were in agreement that the consumption of wine, regardless of the quantity consumed, subjects the drinker to hard punishment. Conversely, they disputed whether the consumption of drugs will also lead to the same sentence. Ibn Taymiyyah insisted that the narcotic drugs like hashish carry the same prohibition as wine. The sentence is either being whipped by 40 or 80 lashes. However, held that bunch, a form of drug similar to hashish but lighter in influence, consumption does not carry the same punishment as it is not intoxicating. It only leads the same person to receive ta'zir, which is a punishment decided by the ruler. The majority of jurists did not agree with Ibn Taymiyyah's strict view. On the basis decision of the majority of jurists, the punishment of consumption of drugs in the Dangerous Drugs Act 2021 is only ta'zir, which is a punishment prescribed by the ruler. which in the current context is the government of Malaysia, and not HOT, as it cannot be equated to be the same status as wine or Hammer in the opinion of majority of jurists. Let us proceed to part 3, which is the contribution and possession of drugs. So according to Western jurisprudence, in specifically Jeremy Bentham, the purpose of the law is to secure the maximum happiness of the greatest number of the society. So as we all know, drugs is a very dangerous substance, and it can make someone's future to be destroyed as they cannot think reasonably and have addiction towards drugs for the rest of their life. Thus, the drug traffickers should be severely punished as they indirectly contribute to the demoralization of the societies. Someone who has the possession of the drugs must also be punished, as the drugs may destroy their future, then making them the proceeds of their societies. With this punishment, the drugs can be contained from destroying the youth of the societies, so that the societies can be more prosperous and hence their happiness will be increased. So let's proceed to Islamic jurisprudence. One of Islamic legal maxim is Sad al-Dara'i. So what is Sad al-Dara'i? It means the blocking the permissible acts which lead to an evil or evil behavior. As mentioned earlier, the act of illegally transporting or exporting the drugs in order to traffic, it will lead to the consumption of the illegal substances or the drugs to the societies. Thus, this act must be prevented from happening and must be punished by the law. One of the purpose of Islamic jurisprudence is to protect the life. Thus, with this law, the life or the health of the societies will be protected. Let us proceed to part 4, which is treatment and rehabilitation of drug addicts. So, rehabilitation center is designed to provide those struggling with drug abuse the right tool and resources to overcome addiction. To conquer one's addiction, those attending addiction treatment will also learn the necessary tools for building a productive, healthy, and happy life. So, in regards to Islamic jurisprudence, to the rehab part, which one of the Islamic legal maxim is maslahah. The Islamic or Muslim religion has principles which restrict the use of harmful substances in the body. Maslahah means securing benefit and removing harm. Imam Al-Ghazali defines marsalah, the benefit that is intended by the lawgiver, which is God himself, for mankind in preservation and protection of their religion, life, reason, lineage, and property. Whatever ensures the protection of these 5 things is beneficial, which is maslahah, and whatever causes the missing of these 5 things is harmful, which is mafsadah, and to remove it a maslahah. Maslahah that is neither acknowledged nor rejected by the Sharia is called masalih al-musalah. So, as in regards to Western jurisprudence under the rehab part, legal positivism is a school of thought of analytical jurisprudence developed largely by legal philosophers during the 18th and 19th centuries, which includes Jeremy Bentham and Austin. According to Jeremy Bentham, he maintained that the art of legislation is the discovery of the means to realize the good, and the foundation of the legislator's reasoning must be the principle of utility. He also stated that the principle of utility serves as the property of an object to provide benefit, advantage, pleasure, good, or happiness, or to prevent the possibility of damage, evil, pain, and unhappiness to the party whose interest is being considered. If the community as a whole is the party, then the community's happiness is ensured. If a certain person, then that person's happiness matters. So, let us proceed to the benefits of rehab. So, the provision and availability of rehabilitation centers have the capacity to improve many lives by solving many problems in terms of quality of human health in communities and society at large. Rehabilitation treatments are given to stabilize the uneven mental condition of patients by cultivating good thoughts and engaging their mind in some productive work. It helps the person to develop and utilize their full potential through a process of learning and support from the environment. In a nutshell, Dangerous Drug Act is an act enacted to safeguard the integrity of Malaysia's territory and the well-being of its citizenry, particularly the youth, from the harmful effects of dangerous youth on their physical and mental well-being, and to defend the same against acts or omissions detrimental to the development and preservation of mental health.